Hey everyone, and welcome to Steelbook Obsessed. My name is Jake, and I have a 4K review for you. This time around, we are talking about the wonderfully haunting and delightful Edward Scissorhands on glorious 4K. Glorious 4K Steelbook. Disney keeps on putting out a lot of their new 4K releases just on the Steelbook format. I personally love it. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't, but during my review, I will give you my 3 criteria on what I grade every single physical media release on that I do a review for. The TNA factor, the transfer and audio, we have the packaging, and then we have the special features. If that all sounds good to you, make sure you give the video a like, the channel a subscription, all that fun jargon. But let's get right into my thoughts on Edward Scissorhands. It's been a few years since I've seen this movie, but my girls are really into Tim Burton right now. We have just watched Beetlejuice and Beetlejuice, and had a blast with that. I'm like, okay, I think this movie is in the same realm. It plays in the same sandbox as those two movies. Popped this one in with my 7 and 9-year-old girls, and they liked it. They didn't like it as much as Beetlejuice, and I think I can kind of say the same thing. There's some type of like theatrical play aspects going on here. It's like a lot of this is taking place on stage as opposed to in real life, but there's a very like a Shakespearean tale aspect to that. It's very much like you're watching a fairy tale of sorts, which I do appreciate. I totally forgot that the kid from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is also the kid in this movie as well. Winona Ryder's brother is that same kid. He wasn't in a lot of movies, but he was in those two. So I thought that was just a very nice nugget. Of course, Winona Ryder is in here. Diane Weist is great as the mom, and then Alan Arkin as the dad. That whole family aspect of this movie definitely goes a long way into like having a great core, and a great core that you want to root for, a great core that you think will give Edward the right way of looking at life and trying to make him adjust to society that much easier of a time for him. Of course, as the movie goes on, I guess I won't go into super spoilers on what goes on in this movie, but you know, teenage angsts are what they are. And speaking of which, Anthony Michael Hall in this movie, oh my God. Like, I knew he was in this movie, and I knew that he played kind of a different role than what he was used to in the Brat Pack, where he was just kind of like the scrawny nerd. And very out of the box choice from Tim Burton to choose him, but I think he played his role very, very well. What you come for a Tim Burton movie for, at least what I did in the 80s and 90s, was his Tim Burton aesthetic. It's all over this movie. I love so much of it. And this is going to transfer a little bit into what my thoughts are on this 4K transfer release. Because I will say that there are certain parts of this movie that have never looked better, have never looked more vibrant. I thought that when you go into the main neighborhood and there are so many different colored houses and the green shrubbery, and even when you're there, he's cutting up like the ice sculptures, like all of that looks absolutely stunning. Some of the best 4K visual pops I've seen this year. Sony's been very good. Sony is doing the transfers for Disney, and they've been doing a phenomenal job at making specific points look great. There are other points in this transfer in this movie that don't look so hot, that keep that Blu-ray grain from that original the original release that we got back on the Blu-ray days. I didn't watch this movie on DVD, didn't watch it on VHS. I just have the Blu-ray. I still have the Blu-ray in my collection, and I also have this new 4K. I want to say the same Blu-ray disc is in this release right here, which is a little bit unfortunate. It also goes back to like how 4K, just the way the main menu looks, there's a lost art there, and it really makes me upset because I popped in the Blu-ray just to kind of look over the transfers, look over the special features, all that jargon. And yeah, there's just some type of like liveliness to a great main menu that is a dying art, and I absolutely hate to be saying that because I love that art form so much. but I have to say that this transfer is a bit of a mixed bag, and I hate to be saying that. The audio side of things, this has Dolby Vision, this has Dolby Atmos. It sounds great. I don't think I've ever had an issue with the sound of any type of version I've seen of Edward Scissorhands. The haunting score that is all over this movie is now stuck in my head, and that's not a bad thing. It just kind of drills in there, and very mesmerizing, very simple yet stunning, which is one of my like favorite combinations of anything. And audio wise, knocks it out of the park. Sounds amazing. Visuals, it's kind of like I want to say like an 80-20. 80% of the time, 75-80% of the time, this sucker looks great. But there's like a 20-25% of the time, I don't know if this is because of the transfer that they had to work with, or just the original elements that they could not figure out how to make those Dolby Vision moments absolutely pop like the rest of the movie, but they stick out. It kind of reminds me of like when home releases play with aspect ratios, like going from like a regular ratio to IMAX ratio. Like when you notice that, that's all you notice, and you want all of it to look that great. I can say the same thing about these 4K visual pops, because when they sparkle and shine and really flex, it's amazing. And I just wanted the whole movie to be that way. That being said, I'm going to give the transfer and audio of Edward Scissorhands a solid 8 out of 10. It looks phenomenal. I just wish all of it looked phenomenal. I was in between an 8 and a 9, but there were too many instances of just like it looking very grainy. Like if you go and decide to pick this up and come back and watch this video, you will notice that like if you first start the video, you're like, well, this looks like garbage. Like the main beginning scene with Winona Ryder as an elder talking about like the story tale of Edward Scissorhands. That does not look great at all in that aspect. The black and white intro looks great. It just kind of ping pongs back and forth. It's a bit of a bummer. I'm sticking with an 8. Wish I could have won a 9. There were moments in here where I'm like, oh, okay, it finally turned the corner. This is a 10 out of 10. I'm sticking with an 8. That's what I'm going with. But now let's kind of skirt into the packaging side of things. And of course, Steelbook Obsessed. We have a great looking Steelbook here. As you can see, it is very, very glossy, which I absolutely love. I like the metallic sheen on the scissors. Again, goes a long way for me. I could have, I wish that there was a little bit of embossing, a little bit of debossing over here. Sorry, there was a hair on there for when I laid it down on the carpet to get the discs out. But you can see that there's like a glass sheen in there too. The image-wise, it's okay. I have an Edward Scissorhands Blu-ray Steelbook. In fact, let me go get that. So here is the 4K Steelbook that is recently released. Here is the Blu-ray Steelbook. And if I had to choose one, I think I prefer the Blu-ray Steelbook over the 4K Steelbook. I just like how the image is still there. Very, very, very similar images. But then you go over to the back, and I really like how he used like the miniatures that the miniatures, not the images, the miniatures that he uses in a lot of his beginning works. They just look so good on this. Something that this 4K Steelbook is really missing a little bit, which very, very much stinks. I don't know why I'm comparing. I have a reason to showcase off Steelbook, so I'm going to. Okay. On the inside, we have Mr. Johnny Depp as Edward Scissorhands. Of course, I didn't even talk about him when I was talking about the movie. He's great in this. He knows how to like blend into the character, be completely different than like anything else he'd really played up until that time, or even like since that time. And there's still like this sense of you wanting to root for this monster, and he's not really playing a monster. He's playing someone who does not have a lot of information about life, and he's curious, and he is just a sponge wanting to absorb as much as possible, trying to fit in, even though he is kind of one of those misfit toys that we talk about in Rudolph. I don't know, I really enjoyed his performance a lot. As you can see, the 4K and Blu-ray disc, I love the artwork that they decided to go with on the 4K disc. The Blu-ray disc, this is what I'm curious about. The Blu-ray disc right here actually took the artwork from the Blu-ray release of this Steelbook edition. So that's kind of interesting right there. Here's kind of a side-by-side of what the Blu-ray Steelbook looks like on the inside as opposed to the 4K Steelbook. I really like the play of like black and blue and white as opposed to like the color dreamscape on the inside. It's a very cool reveal. This is giving off the same mood over and over again, but this mood is all over the movie. And there's a little bit of that color dream space on this 4K disc. I think overall, I'm gonna rate the Steelbook packaging a 8 out of 10. I enjoy it. They didn't do much creative with it. There is kind of like a reflection in with the Scissorhands, which is kind of nice, even though it's the same image, but it kind of makes sense that it's the same image here. I like it. It's solid. They could have done more to elevate it, in my opinion. But we talked about the 4K transfer and audio. We talked about the packaging. Now it's time to talk about the special features. And unfortunately, this is one aspect of this release that did not impress me much, because there's no new special features on this thing. The only special features that there are to talk about, if I show you the J card right here of the Steelbook, is that they're all archival. There's a featurette that has been there since the dawn of time, since this movie was promoted. There's a couple commentaries with Tim Burton and Danny Elfman, and there are 2 trailers. That's it. And that sucks, because I wanted so much more. And I feel like there's people in this cast that they could have gotten to give their opinions on the movie 35 years later. Like, I really like how the J card kind of looks like it has been cut with scissors. Very, very nice touch there. No love given to extra features, which is just a bummer with main studio releases more often than not. Warner Brothers does a good job making new special features. Lionsgate has been doing a great job with their Lionsgate Limited exclusive extras. Disney and Sony just kind of sit on their archival stuff, and that hurts me to my core, okay? Especially since I now have producer credits on making special features, and to me, they're just not putting any type of energy, any type of effort into going out there and getting new material for their release, because they don't think it's worth it. I love putting in that time. I love trying to craft a disc into making it the biggest whole sum of like the movie and retrospective of that movie, their experiences, as much as I possibly can. This does not have that. And the special features that are there are not the greatest. Special features here, I'm giving a 4 out of 10 just because they're old, and there's only one. The featurette is interesting to watch, but it's only like 4 or 5 minutes long, and there's not a lot of meat on the bone, and that stinks so much. So if I'm doing the math right off top of the dome, this release of Edward Scissorhands is getting a final score of 20 out of 30. Not great, very bare bones, if I'm being honest. If you have a Blu-ray release in your collection, I would say stick with that, unless this one gets like on sale or something. With these Steelbooks though, that's how they get you. They don't really go on sale that much at all. I'm a little conflicted, because if you're looking for a visual upgrade, this does give you that, and it just doesn't give it to you consistently enough for me to say wholeheartedly that you should spend, what is this, $50 to get this in your collection? I can't wholeheartedly give a recommendation to just drop that kind of dough for what you get with this release. I wish I could. The movie is great as well. Like, it's one of Tim Burton's best, but I can't fully promote, or can't fully endorse this release, unfortunately. I want to with all of my being. There's just too many barriers, and I would never lie to you. I would never lie to the audience on what my thoughts are. I got this for free from Disney. That's not going to persuade me into saying more positivities about this release. I'm just giving it to you as is. I like the movie a lot. I wish you could wait for a sale. I don't think that they're even going to go back and release these standardly on just normal 4K cases. When these go out of stock, they go out of stock, and that is just kind of unfortunate with the way that the physical media landscape is in 2025. That's just kind of, you either get this or you don't get it, and you never get it, or you pay scalper prices, and that's never fun too. If you want a visual upgrade, it's here. That's all. That's all newness of this release, unfortunately. Those are my thoughts. I wish I had better things to say, and I wish that it wowed me just a little bit more. I mean, if you get this release, you will watch it and you will be jaw-dropped at times. I just wish that was more consistent than it is on this release. that is all I have to say about Edward Scissorhands. I appreciate you watching this review. Again, if you like it, please subscribe to the channel. I'm getting more 4K reviews out there, and I got this ahead of time before launch day. So if you want like thorough reviews on releases that are not released yet before you drop your hard-earned money, give me a follow. I'd greatly appreciate it. But thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see ya.